6 a.m. And Isha Iqamah will be 9:30, starting tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala wa ba'd. Obviously, I'm not Dr. Amr, in case you were unsure. I'm filling in for him. He was unable to make it. So, subhanAllah, I got the message this morning and I just grabbed a book off my shelf to reflect on. I had no preparation and I decided, I was reading a book yesterday on my day off. What I do on days off, I read. So I was reading a book yesterday and I pulled the same book off my shelf this morning because I found something yesterday that I found very moving and beneficial, and I figured why not share it with everyone. Now, this work that I'm quoting from is a very fancy titled book called As-Sirrul Bahir, which is a work by the Qadi of Fas in the 1940s, Sheikh Ahmed Sukayrij, rahimahullah ta'ala, who was a very prolific writer and figure, a very international scholar who interacted with so many ulama across not only North Africa, but sub-Saharan Africa and the East and Arabia. And if you know the mosque in Paris, the big fancy masjid in Paris that was opened in the 40s, he was the one who led the first salat and Jumu'ah in this masjid, because that was his position, his makana ilmiya. And this is a book of his where he simply gathered some fawaid or benefits that he found in another larger work of a teacher by the name of Sheikh Muhammad ibn al-Mashri, Kitab al-Jami'. And in it, he quotes the Sheikh who was talking to a teacher about the qaswatul qalb, or the hardness of the heart. And I just wanted to share this quote because I found it very, very beneficial. It is worthy of a full exposition and unpacking. He says, among the advice that he received from his teachers, he says that his teacher said to him, "I'lam arshadana Allahu wa iyyaka ila sabili hidayatihi." Know, may Allah guide you and us to the path of His guidance. أَنَّ قَسَاوَةَ الْقَلْبِ أَعْظَمُ الْبَلَايَا. That the hardness of the heart is one of the greatest of tribulations. وَلَمْ يَبْتَلِ اللَّهُ عَبْدًا بِأَشَدَّ مِنْهَا بَعْدَ الْكُفْرِ. And Allah has not tested a person with a test that is more intense than the test of having a hardened heart. He said, وَأَسْبَابُ الْقَسْوَةِ مَحْصُورَةٌ فِي مَا أَذْكُرُهُ الْآنِ. As far as the reasons, why does the heart grow hard? He says the reasons or the causes for the hardening of the heart, they are limited to the things I'm going to share with you now. So his teacher is telling him what he feels are the causes for the hardness of the heart. He says, starting number 1, الْإِصْرَارُ عَلَى أَيِّ ذَنْبٍ كَانَ. Persisting in a sin, no matter what kind of sin it is, major or minor. Bad habit, it's a sinful thing. Instead of making tawbah, the person insists on doing it over and over and over again. This just hardens the heart more and more and more. Number 2, he says, وَطُولُ الْأَمَلِ. We talked about this last Saturday, lengthened hopes. That was the whole class on Saturday. وَالْغَضَبُ لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. Having anger that is other than the sake of Allah. This causes the heart to harden. وَالْحِقْدُ عَلَى الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Having rancor and animosity towards the Muslims. He says, وَحُبُّ الدُّنْيَا. Love of the lower world. وَحُبُّ الرِّيَاسَةِ. Loving power and fame. The love of fame and name brings nothing but blame and flame, as one of my teachers would always say. Love of fame and name will bring nothing but shame and flame. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Love of riyasa. وَفِعْلُ مَا لَا يَعْنِي مِنْ قَوْلٍ أَوْ عَمَلٍ. And getting involved in things that do not concern one, of statement and action. وَلَوْ قَلْ. Even if it's small. وَكَثْرَةُ الضَّحِكِ. Laughing too much, excessive laughter. وَكَثْرَةُ الْمِزَاحِ. Excessive joking around. There has to be a balance. وَالْفَرَحُ بِالْحُظُوظِ الْعَاجِلَةِ. Being joyous and delighted and overexcited about these gains of the lower world. وَالْغَمُّ مِنْ أَجْلِ فَقْدِهَا, and being distressed when you lose out of these things. He says, وَالْغَفْلَةُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ, being heedless of Allah's remembrance. This is number 12. وَعَنْ قِلَّةِ التَّفَكُّرِ فِي أُمُورِ الْآخِرَةِ, and not reflecting often on matters of the hereafter. كَأَمْرِ الْقَبْرِ وَأَمْرِ الْقِيَامَةِ, like the matters of the grave or the day of judgment. وَضُرُوبِ أَهْوَالِهَا وَمَوَاطِنِهَا, and all of the different intensities and experiences and places where the day of judgment unfolds. وَأَمْرِ النَّارِ وَسَائِرِ أَنْكَادِهَا وَأَغْلَالِهَا, and not reflecting on the description of the hellfire and its torments and chains and things of this nature. وَأَمْرِ الْجَنَّةِ وَضُرُوبِ نَعِيمِهَا, and not reflecting and contemplating on the blessings and the delights of Jannah and its joys and its وَسُرُورِهَا مِنْ حُورِهَا وَقُصُورِهَا إِلَى غَيْرِ ذَلِكَ. He says, فَالْغَفْلَةُ عَنْ هَذَا كُلِّهِ سَبَبٌ فِي الْقَسْوَةِ. He says, being heedless of these matters of the unseen, just putting them in the back of one's mind, is a cause for the hardness of the heart. He says, after this, the next cause, number 14, وَالْخَوْضُ مَعَ أَهْلِ اللَّهْوِ وَاللَّعِبِ فِي مَا هُمْ فِيهِ مِنْ قَوْلٍ وَعَمَلٍ. Basically, engaging with the people of falsehood, people who are doing haram things, just messing around, wasting their lives, hanging out with those people and getting mixed in with their activities. This is a cause of the hardening of the heart. He says, وَسَمَاعِ حَدِيثِهِمْ وَمُجَالَسَتِهِمْ لِغَيْرِ ضَرُورَةٍ شَرْعِيَّةٍ. Likewise, it hardens the heart to listen to their conversations and sit with them without a sharia countenanced benefit or need where a person needs to sit with them. In other words, if you find friends that are pulling you away from dhikrullah and a purpose towards Allah, then it's into the haram. This, of course, will harden the heart. So he goes on, concluding this. وَصُحْبَةُ السُّفَهَاءِ كَالْأَحْدَاثِ سِنًّا وَعَقْلًا وَدِينًا. This, subhanAllah, he says, what hardens the heart also is keeping the company of foolish people. And he says, sufaha, here he says, sufaha, like the ahdath. Now, this is an old reference in the works of hadith and in the works of the salaf. The ahdath are referring to those who are young in age, but also they're dim-witted. They could be 55, 65 years old, but they're dim-witted, meaning they're not intelligent people. They don't think before they act. They speak without knowledge, and they just yap their mouths. You know, sufaha. Imam al-Shafi'i called this person the thaqil, the heavy person. So he says, keeping company with these types of people, whether they're super young in age or they're dim-witted in intellect or they're deen, this will harden the heart. وَأَكْلُ الْحَرَامِ وَالْمُتَشَابِهِ. He says, eating the haram hardens the heart, as well as the doubtful. وَشَبَعِ, as well as overstuffing oneself. وَكَثْرَةِ الشُّرْبِ لِلْمَاءِ, overconsumption basically. وَكَثْرَةُ تَنَاوُلِ الشَّهَوَاتِ, engaging too much in the carnal pleasures. وَكَثْرَةُ النَّوْمِ وَكَثْرَةُ تَفَكُّرِ الْقَلْبِ فِي غَيْرِ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Basically, thinking about all of these matters other than Allah, overdone, over too much, causes the heart to slowly harden over time. Now, this is about 24 things. We just kind of rush through them. We get a general sense of the main things that cause the heart to get hardened. In the rest of the book, the other sections, he talks about, well, how do you soften it? And he gives a whole list and what these things are. General things that we all know. As a reminder, walhamdulillah, Allahumma raqi qulubana ya Rabbil alameen, walhamdulillah.